All right. How's everybody doing out there today? We are back for part two of signature reduction video. So let's go over and we'll watch that video clip I had set up from yesterday. And this is from Jim Lee, Climate Viewer YouTube channel, and that's climateviewer.com, I do believe. And I showed you guys before his Climate Viewer 3D map that he has, and it's really an impressive piece of software he put together there. So I recommend if you want to look up some interesting stuff around the world, go check out his Climate Viewer 3D. Very informative, and like he even says there on the website, you could spend hours researching in the stuff that he has. And this video clip here, it's about 20 minutes. I'll probably pause it along the way and give some commentary. It's about bot farms and online persona software, where they actually have software that will manage fake social media accounts. And this all ties into the signature reduction, because the bots and these persona software would be considered all a form of signature reduction. You know, helping to carry out the IIA, carry out the IO, whatever name they want to change it to. This helps them carry it out, so they don't have to have multiple computers set up like a bot thingy. They just have software that manages it all. And quick news flash, in case some people haven't been keeping tabs on the latest stuff. We now have a Ministry of Truth in the U.S. And that's right. Right out in 1984, we have a Ministry of Truth. Or, wait, maybe they called it the Misinformation Governance Board. But the stated mission sure sounds like Ministry of Truth. So, if you didn't think the control of the internet and the control of social media and the control of the alternative media has really been that bad so far, well, it's going to get a lot worse, because it sounds like this ministry is probably going to green light much more IIA and signature reduction techniques and everything. So, when I keep saying we're headed down a bad road and things are going to get bad and you ain't going to know what to believe online, well, we're fast approaching that. A Ministry of Truth, that's coming to fruition from the movie. If you've never seen 1984, go watch it. It's a pretty good movie, and it's pretty relevant to, what's taking place today. They have the Ministry of Truth, the Ministry of Peace, I think they call it, and a whole bunch of other ministries that pretty much mean the exact opposite of what they're called. So, go check out the movie 1984, and you'll see why having a Ministry of Truth is not a good thing. So, alright, let's start this video clip here. And like I said, Jim Lee, he's a former member of Anonymous. He's kind of a computer whiz, and he seems pretty genuine to me. But in this day and age, you never know. All the information I'm going over, it would be stupid of me to say, oh, I trust this guy, he's genuine and credible, because I honestly don't know. Everyone I watch online, I don't know. And I'm not going to say, I do, because I don't. I don't know any of them. I never met any of them, and they can be fake personas. And that's what everyone needs to do the same. Everyone just loves their internet daddies telling them truth and fighting for them. Well, you better get over it. You better get over it quick, because we don't have a lot of time left. All right, let's play.
What do they mean by bot farms? What is a bot farm? Well, you're looking at one right here. So this is literally a whole bunch of cell phones, iPhones, Androids, all connected to a network, all sharing different posts, automated. Okay? Just an example. This is a smaller setup. They get much larger. But if you look at bot farms, you'll see things, ranging from, a whole bunch of small cell phones to literally this right here with thousands of PlayStation 4s being used as a FIFA Ultimate Team bot farm seized by Ukrainian police. Now, this is in video games. I mean, bot farming is a thing. It is across every genre, from public perception management, propaganda, to mining, gold in a MMO video game to sell it. Bots are constantly used for so many different purposes. But for the political purposes, that's where it really gets nefarious, because they're trying to create the perception that there are hundreds of thousands of people that believe a thing to change your mind. The whole, group mentality, group think, hive mind ideology behind it is creepy AF. So I was looking into this a little bit more, and
Okay, so when he's talking there about using the group mentality, the group think, what he's talking about is on social media and alternative media and alternative video platforms and YouTube videos. These bot networks, they can go on there and they can go into the comment section, they can go into the live chat section, and put out feedback. And whatever type of feedback they want to put out, whether it's trying to discredit the person who's making the video, or whether it's to further solidify credibility to the person that's making the video. But you have many of them. You might have dozens and dozens, or you might have hundreds. All praising the person or all condemning the person, and the group mentality, the group think, then starts to show through. And then, the ordinary person sitting at home, coming across this video, they see all these comments that are, oh, this guy's a shill, you can't trust him, disinfo agent, fake news, whatever. And they see all those accounts saying the same thing, then the group mentality imprints on them. And then they start thinking, oh, well, this guy must be a shill then, he must be fake news, because so many people think it, so I'm gonna think it too. Herd mentality, groupthink. And take that into consideration, and then think of how wide a range that could be used for to manipulate people's thinking, or to boost credibility. Someone goes somewhere and let's say old Richie from Langley, Richie from Boston, his chat comment section were highly sanitized. I would always try to post a comment there and call him out on stuff, and my comments would never see the light of day. You would never see my comments there. He would have them sanitized. The only comments you've seen in Richie from Langley's thing would be just praise and glory. Oh, Richie's fighting the good fight. And those could all be bots, and then you get the ordinary person at their house that comes by and, they watch his video about flat earth and playing the Jeebus card, and then they see all these comments that just love them and support them, and the herd mentality rubs off, and next thing you know, they're a Richie from Langley fan, and Richie's a hero, and they're a full supporter, and they might even go open their wallet and tithe their internet pastor and send money off to him. That herd mentality groupthink could be used for so much, and best believe it's being played out here on social media and alternative media. They're using it to control the narrative and control people's thoughts and perceptions of the propaganda that's being put out. So, all right, let's continue.
what you see here is inside a Facebook bot farm that pumps out 200,000 political posts per month. Comparitech Research has accessed an unsecured Facebook bot farm that was used to control nearly 14,000 fake accounts. Here's what we found. Links in the details. You should read it. Pretty interesting stuff. And when you look through it, what you see is, that Facebook only blocked 1 in 10 of the farm bots accounts at time of publishing. And these are what the accounts, look, pardoning Snowden would backfire on Trump February 1st, things like that. A step in the right direction for correcting some of the problems with broken Windows policy. Your typical stuff. So what were they posting about? 50% politics, 17% the C word, 22% other, 11% news. Trump was the most used keyword in bot posts, followed by Biden. I mean, keeping up that Hegelian dialect, that left-right paradigm, keeping everybody fighting. It's.
So there, if Trump and Biden were the most used term or words in that, it's, being highly aimed at elections and the political environment, like he said, keeping up the Hegelian dialectic. So if you thought our elections were fortified, so to say, before, well, the elections going forward, from this point on, they're going to be extra fortified, if you catch my drift.
Good for corporations, it's good for governments, it's good for politicians, good for everybody. So, when he says, we'll defeat the spam bots or die trying, I'm all for that. When it comes to the death of anonymity, I am vehemently against that. So this is a really nuanced situation, occurring with Elon. And, I think that the guy's got a big brain. I don't think that, he has considered all the ramifications. And we're going to have to, this is an, unfolding event, and we'll keep track of how everything goes. But basically, this bot farm was running, an open source software. And you can see that basically most of these Facebook accounts are at mail.ru, which is Russia. So lots of accounts, created with mail.russia, email addresses, all the passwords here, and using, basically temporary phone numbers that were generated, VoIP numbers, fake numbers, all that sort of stuff to create these accounts. And they can automate all of this. Selenium used to imitate human input. And it shows right here, how the bot, a key tool for the bot farm to imitate human behavior is called Selenium. And they show right here, this is some JSON markup, from the script that was used to register a Facebook account. And they just basically plop this stuff in. I do something similar, with, my Climate Viewer News. Whenever I create my website, I actually go through and create posts, and they look surprisingly similar. And I'm in the wrong category here. Hold on a second. Content 2019, boom. Chinese massive farming. And I mean, this is what the code looks like. It's pretty much a similar kind of deal, where you've got yet another markup language. And you just type the stuff in, and then you write scripts to automate the whole process. And what they're using is something called Selenium. Automate browsers. That's it. What you do with that power is entirely up to you. And of course, a lot of people are using that as a weapon. You can build a house with a hammer, or you can crack a skull. These are tools, and tools can be used many different ways. So that's where we're at with that. But in the past, the New World Order technocratic state and the surveillance state has used these sock puppets, these bot armies, to attack journalists, to attack WikiLeaks, to attack the idea of, you shouldn't even look at this sort of thing. And we should, punish those who go outside of what the government wants people to believe. It's about mind control. That's what sock puppet armies typically are used for. And an example of that, you can come down here and scroll through the 5 eyes, the 14 eyes, and you'll see right here, the NSA Stone Ghost Network versus WikiLeaks. U.S. defense contractors hired to use cyber warfare and social media sock puppets to sway public opinion against WikiLeaks, discredit journalists and activists. Basically Barrico Technologies, Palantir Technologies, and HB Gary Federal to create fake Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube accounts to post online as if they were real people and influence your opinion. Reference 10, 11, 12, and 13. And you can scroll down here and you can see I've got my references, all of which have been deleted from the internet since the last time I put this up. I originally obviously put this up around 2012 because, as you can see, these have been deleted from the internet. This one's still up. HB Gary Federal's nemesis is a 16-year-old schoolgirl from Anonymous, the famous hacktivist community. This 16-year-old girl, basically HB Gary shot their mouth off. They said they were going to dox the Anons, and the Anons were like, oh, really? You may be a defense contractor, but you're about to learn today. F around and learn. So they hacked HB Gary, and they dumped their entire database online. And this is when we learned about deleted article. I'm on the Wayback Machine. I back up everything, and this is my original backup from October 30th, 2012. Official HB Gary Federal Sock Sorter. This is not new. This is not new. This has been going on a very long time. This has been going on long before 2011 when this was posted. February 18th, 2011. The idea that some curious bits from HB Gary Federal leaked emails. Basically, the idea was to build some sort of sock puppet management system. Geez, no wonder the programmer said this guy's a loony. The first warning sign is the grandiose plan for sock puppet management involves a bunch of USB drive switching and all of this stuff. And they try to downplay it even in this, kiddie stuff. Oh, this is just kiddie stuff. But then if you actually look at what the 16-year-old girl from Anonymous leaked, we get an official Palantir presentation. And I put this up on Scribd many moons ago because I didn't want it to get deleted. WikiLeaks was launched in 2006 by self-described Chinese dissidents and interested parties from 5 continents. Within a year of its launch, WikiLeaks claimed to possess over 1.2 million documents from 13 countries. Employees and volunteers are spread across the world with their identities largely unknown. But then they go on to have slides to dox all the individuals. And then you can see right here, this is a mapping program that, basically this is Palantir's version of it. The open source version of the hacker world available in Kali Linux is called Maltego. I actually used Maltego whenever I was being harassed by 5 major YouTubers for a year and a half that were threatening my family and contacting my local job. And I went and I took each individual and every single sock puppet account they have and their home addresses, their family members. You wouldn't believe the kind of information you can gather off the internet and then chart out so that you can see how big an organization is. And one of the individuals literally owned 999 YouTube accounts by himself. That was a task to map out. So as you can see here, they've mapped out the main culprits in the WikiLeaks arsenal. And in there, you'll see Julian Assange and journalist Glenn Greenwald. These down here is American citizens, okay? And the concerning part about this is you're looking at a slide that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the federal government and defense contractors use sock puppets and bot armies to discredit, to attack and smear American citizens and a journalist, Glenn Greenwald. If you don't know who Glenn Greenwald is,
let's pause it there for a second. So he's talking about that HB Gary Fed account, and apparently that HB Gary ticked off the wrong people of Anonymous, and they kind of did a little doxing on him, and it revealed a sock puppet management account where they were pretty much putting together, a software suite that would manage sock puppets. And that's what they use to discredit people, like Jim just said there, to target American citizens and even journalists. So this stuff is definitely going on. And if you noticed, all this stuff that Jim is talking about, this is back from 2012. So that's 10 years ago. That's still the kind of the early days of social media, so to say, about, 4 to 6 years in, to, widespread, super popular social media. So just imagine what the landscape is like today, 10 years later. And think about that. Maybe it'll click of why I'm harping on the IIA, the influence operations, the information operations, the PSYOPs, the psychological warfare, because it is thick as thieves right now. Let's continue.
Look him up. He's amazing. He's phenomenal. He's always been up these guys' butts from day one. And he was covering WikiLeaks and just telling the facts about the situation. When the original Bradley / Chelsea Manning dump occurred. And this was their response, was to Glenn was critical in the Amazon to OVH translation. So they're specifically calling out Glenn Greenwald right here. And they talk about, how they want to, end this uncensorable system for untraceable mass document leaking. And then target, Glenn Greenwald and everybody involved. And I mean, what a dope ass server farm. Look at that. It's in the side of a mountain underground. This is where they store their files. Ooh, this is spy movie stuff. It's great. Anyway, so what truth of this is there? Well, another deleted from the internet. It's in my references. You can see it right here. Right here, number 13. Blow that up nice and big. Media.washingtonpost.com. Personal software 0302 PDF. Persona management software from the U.S. Air Force Air Mobility Command. Now, riddle me this. Why would the United States Air Force want persona management software? And what does it say in there?
Okay, quick break. If you noticed, all these documents that Jim's talking about, they've all been deleted off the internet. they've all been scrubbed. Because like I said, most of this stuff's around 2012. So from then till now, they're gone. They've been sanitized. They've been scrubbed. But Jim, makes sure that he backs stuff up and saves stuff for future reference because he's, computer whiz and intelligent like that. So he can still reference this stuff. And thankfully he did that, and, he can still show us this stuff, but it's gone. So that just further affirms that the internet today is highly, highly controlled. Like I said, whatever you can find out there and is out there is likely because they want it out there. It is permitted to be out there. And what they don't want, it's gone. So just keep that in the back of your mind. When you're looking, researching, searching for stuff on the internet, you're probably only going to find what they want you to find. And what would the reason be that they, only want you to find, specific stuff, and, the rest is gone, disappeared, ghosted. Let's continue.
Online persona management service, 50 user license, 10 personas per user. Software will allow 10 personas per user, replete with background, history, supporting details, and cyber presences that are technically, culturally, and geographically consistent. That means fake accounts on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube that look real, that have a history to them, that all of it lines up nice and neat and it looks like a real person. Individual applications will enable an operator to exercise a number of different online persons from the same workstation without fear of being discovered by sophisticated adversaries. Personas must be able to appear to originate in nearly any part of the world and can interact through conventional online services and social media platforms. The service includes the user-friendly application environment to maximize the user's situational awareness by displaying real-time location information. Number 2, secure virtual private network. Each VPN provides the ability for users to daily and automatically obtain randomly selected IP addresses through which they can access the internet. The daily rotation of the user IP address prevents compromise during observation or likely targeted website services while hiding the existence of the operation. In addition, may provide traffic mixing, blending of users' traffic and traffic from multitudes of users from outside organization. This traffic blending provides excellent cover and powerful deniability. Anonymizer, enterprise, chameleon, or equal. Static IP address management, 50 each, and anyway, they go on into that. And then virtual private servers, VPSs in the CONUS and outside the CONUS. So having servers set up to also automate this process. I'll refer back to what this guy's, these people have going on, thousands of iPhones now doing this, Hey, the business of bot farming has really evolved since back then. But I actually played a video game with a guy who worked for the NSA. Just a little backstory. And this guy told me that he had 6 monitors set up and he had an eyepiece and that he could literally look left or look right and the monitor in front of him would change to a different PC so that he could actually manage 6 PCs at once. And as silly as this sounds, we were playing EverQuest 2 online, and he had an entire group of 6 characters that he could control by himself. So he was his own one-man army. And that's what he did for his hobby in the evening. What he did the rest of the day, I don't want to speculate about that. But, they had this back in 2001. And I can only imagine the kinds of stuff that they have nowadays. But this is an actual, from federalbusinessopportunities.gov, a contract for the, a bot army, a persona management software. And of course, deleted from the internet. It may still be live on the original page. I haven't even checked, but this was the original shared from Washington Post. Washington Post has taken that down because they don't want anybody to talk about that today. But they mentioned Anonymizer Chameleon, and I looked into it, and it turns out it's largely Russian. And they go into here. Here's how to use Anonymizer Chameleon with Tor, with the Tor browser, the Onion network. How to actually keep yourself private while doing all of this stuff. Because if you're going to run bots, you're going to need a VPN, just like they said in the other one. And this is actually Anonymizer Chameleon. It's Chameleo.xyz. Did not put the freaking link in the details because YouTube would jump on that faster than a pig in shit. So I'm going to just not leave that in there. But Chameleo.xyz is the thing. And Tor browser, if you haven't heard of it, it's at torproject.org. It's another way to browse the internet without being tracked. You basically fire up the Tor browser. You go through an encrypted network. Issues with Tor, people can actually own the exit and entrance nodes to Tor network. This was the only time I've ever seen it actually mentioned in like a TV show or movies, and Mr. Robot was pretty freaking epic that he's like, you thought you were anonymous while you were doing all that pedophile, shit you were up to. But I actually own the exit node that you were using. And I was like, oh yeah, somebody who knows what they're talking about. But that's pretty epic. So Tor is one of the encrypted networks you can use. The other one being I2P. These are the two largest, the Invisible Internet Project. You can see it right there, the Invisible Internet Project, I2P. So you can use these in combination with a VPN, a virtual private network, to pretty much guarantee that just about anybody's not going to be able to find you. So what I would suggest to you, the common individual who can't, do all of these things, do yourself a favor and get ExpressVPN.
Okay, so that's the end of the clip I wanted to show there. You see at the end there, they have persona management software, and it grants the user, up to 10 fake accounts, and it grants them VPN usage, and it can do everything down to a complete backstory, and make it look legit, regional specific, regional legit, whether you're southwestern USA, northeastern USA, Africa, Middle East, you could have the personas from anywhere, and it would align everything accordingly to make it look legit. And then it would cycle through the VPN, so all the ISPs are cycled, and they can never know the real one that you're on. And how many accounts could you manage doing that, with that? And like he said, they got rid of that because they don't want people talking about that anymore. And he went on there and showed that Chameleon was like a Russian creation, or probably Russian programming. So if you think that the United States and Russia are worst enemies and we're battling each other, and Putin's fighting to stop the New World Order and he's on our side and blah, 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 I'm sorry, but the US and Russia are, what do they call that? Something bedmates, weird bedmates, or anyway. But behind the scenes, all the major countries all the modern first world, even second world countries, they're all members of the same team. The people that control them, they control all of them, so um, they're bedfellows. So that software, is Russian made. Well, the U.S. is likely using it. And the whole thing with Ukraine, this is just some stunt on the political stage, the world stage. It's just another act of the theater. And I don't know what the end is they're trying to achieve with this Ukraine, but it's just all a PR, to control the narrative and continue down the path to pretty much global totalitarianism. And he brings up here this I2P at the very end. I'm pretty sure recently, within the last couple of weeks, a video I watched from Brendan O'Connell, or Brenda Connolly. If you see my video yesterday, that little coincidence of fake accounts, Brenda O'Connell and Brendan O'Connell. Anyway, he was covering Israeli high tech like he always does. And I do believe one of the programs he mentioned, being Israeli, is this I2P. So, if that is correct, then this I2P is Israeli created. And like pretty much all Israeli high tech, it's right out of the Talpiot program or the 8200 unit. And if it's not directly out of there, it's created by someone who was a part of that and then ventured out into the private market to create whatever, because they send their graduates and alumni and whatever, they send them out into the private unit and create these companies to further solidify their high-tech domination. And I'm pretty sure this I2P is one of them. So if you're using I2P for internet invisibility, you might want to reconsider it, because if it's Israeli made Talpiot 8200, it's probably backdoored and they're probably monitoring it somehow. So be cautious if you're using the I2P. Now, I do believe that's all we got on that video there. And I will mention that for social media, I do not participate in social media. All I do is these YouTube videos, and I watch other people's content. But as far as Facebook goes, or Instagram, or Twitter, or any of that other stuff, I do not participate, and I do not have accounts. I do have a Facebook account. I used to use it in the early days, like every other brainwashed sheep. And then, kind of once I learned that they're taking all your data, I went through and changed everything in it to kind of get my real identity off of there. So anything that's on there now, you can't, know my real identity except for connections to family and friends. But even though I changed all that, I don't go on there. I don't look at it. I don't post anything. I used to share links to videos, truth videos that I found interesting. I would share, but I don't even do that anymore because I'm sure it's all throttled and suppressed and shadow banned. So I don't even waste my time on there, and I don't want them collecting any data from me. And same thing with Twitter. I never really participated in Twitter. I had an account, which I pretty much mainly had to use it for college. But now I would share truth videos on there, and then I kind of stopped. And it's been a few years since I shared anything on Twitter, but I went to log in there recently for something, just to check on something, and here my account is suspended because some video from 2 years ago or 3 years ago about the Holocaust it got flagged 2-3 years after the fact. And so they suspended my account and until I delete it. And the shady thing is they go, your account is suspended because of this inappropriate whatever. They're like, go ahead and delete it, and you can have your account back. And then you look at the terms of that, and it says, if you delete it, you're acknowledging and admitting that what you posted was wrong. So by deleting that to get your account back, you're admitting that what you posted was wrong and you shouldn't have done it. So I was like, F that. I'm not deleting this just to get my account back. And, it's not a gesture that, yeah, I was wrong. I'm not admitting what I posted was wrong. That's complete BS, complete shadiness, like throwing it in your face, like admit what you did was wrong. No, F you, Twitter, F you, Elon Musk, because nothing's going to change under Elon Musk. I even went back and checked now that he bought it to see, maybe my account's back, because he's handing out accounts back to all the shills, all the media shills. And no, mine's still suspended. Still says, if you want it back, go ahead, delete it. I do believe I appealed it twice, put in 2 appeal requests, just saying, well, this is ridiculous. There's no reason why you should have. It was just a link to a video, and pretty much talking about free speech. Like, it's nice, that somebody, is discussing, the other side of things, which is, a free speech, kind of engagement. And that's what got flagged. So, I'm not deleting that, and I'm not going back to Twitter. And the appeals I put in, I've never heard anything. They ignore your appeals. If you get a thing deleted and your account suspended based on, truth or whatever, don't even, you appeal it. It's a waste of time. They're just going to ignore it. So my account can stay suspended. If I want Twitter, I'll go create another account. But I'm not, because like I said, I'm done with the social media. They just love that data. Whether you go on there for genuine, use or genuine interaction with friends or whatnot, or if you just go on there and shitpost, they still love that data. They don't care what you're posting up there. That's just more data points to feed into AI. So I'm done with the social media. This is the only social media I'm doing, and this is because I'm trying to wake other people up to the state of this world, the state of the internet, and the path that we're going down. And I think I'm laying out a pretty good foundation of we are up Shites Creek with the control and manipulation of the human mind and thinking and control of the narrative. And now we have the Ministry of Truth. So think about that. Ponder on that, guys. All right, so let's move on from signature reduction quick and wrap this video up. So like I showed you yesterday, that NASA document that only Burmis ever covers, I was thinking, wow, why is it only him that, only ever shows this? I wonder if I can find it. The Google search of NASA warfare brought up some links, and one was Dennis Bushnell's Wikipedia. And he's a, NASA scientist, insider, chief scientist at the NASA Langley Research Center, which is Hampton, Virginia. So there's CIA connected. And under his publications is that warfare PowerPoint document and a direct link to get it. So that tells me they want us to have this document. So whether the content in it is genuine, and real, or it's BS. But either way, they want this document out there for people to see. And I think they want it out there for the truth community to see. And it kind of looks kind of cheesy, like low budget. And it's probably put out there for truthers to grab a hold of and go, look, 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 NASA's, CIA doing all this secret stuff. Look, look, look. And people just to laugh at them and go, oh, you silly conspiracy theorists, you're off your rocker. Well, this is a genuine document. So whether the content of it is true or not, well, you'll have to, do further research and discern the information and come to your own conclusions about that. But it's real and it's out there. So let's go through it just a little bit here and then we'll wrap it up. Excuse me. My throat's better today, but it's still itchy and dry. So up here, Dennis M. Bushnell, Chief Scientist, NASA Langley Research. And this is Future Strategic Issues, Future Warfare, circa 2025. So that's coming up in 3 years. Now, if you look down here in the corner, he made this in July of 2001. So this was put out 2 months before 9/11. So this is pre-9/11 PowerPoint. And the purpose, capabilities of the enemy after next. Ongoing worldwide technological revolutions, economic trends, potential nature of farther-term warfare. So I think what they're probably thinking at is the capabilities of the enemy after next. So whatever the enemy is after our next enemy. And what was our next enemy in July 2001? Our next enemy was the Arab world, Arabs, the Middle East, Muslims, Islam, jihadis. That was our enemy. So they're probably talking about the enemy after them. And we've already moved on from that. We're on to the enemy after next now. And a lot of these things are playing out. The bots, Borgs, and humans welcome you to 2025. So at the time he made this, 2025 was almost 25 years away. Now it's only 3 years away. This presentation based on futures work with, look at all these departments that this presentation has futures work based on. It's a lot of powerful agencies right there. DARPA being a big one. FBI, SOCOM. Where's CIA at? I honestly can't believe. Oh, there it is, CIA. You even got the SEALs. Australian Department of Defense. So this isn't just United States. This is international. This presentation is meant to incite thought and discussion. Is based in all cases upon existing data, trends, analysis, technologies. Example given, no pixie dust. What a joke. It's based upon already existing data, trends, analysis, and technologies. Existing technologies. But no pixie dust. Just smart dust, right? Provides in some cases a somewhat broader view of prospective developments and issues. Utilization application of 2025 plus projections. Inputs to future warfighting concepts, development, enemy after next in blue. I don't know what that blue means. Inputs to new procurement decision. 15 plus years to produce, 40 plus years in inventory. Heads up for Intel community, watches and warnings. Inputs to Department of Defense research and development planning. So they're already, planning and mapping out all this future warfare. And this future warfare is the digital realm. And he says existing technologies. So these technologies already exist. that they're plotting out how to use going forward. So just think of all the technologies that have been created since then, almost 25 years ago. Going in assumptions. Politics does change overnight. Example given, Russia, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan. Remember, this is pre 9/11. So even then, they're harping Russia, they're harping Iran, harping Iraq, Pakistan. Potential capabilities is the future warfare issue. Not who, but what. Need to plan differently. World is in the throes of triple exponential IT/bio/nano technical revolutions. So we're in the throes of that in 2001. Where are we at now? Changes occurring at scales of months instead of decades like it used to be, because that's the digital age. The changes occur, at scales of months now, even days, not decades like the, pre-digital era. Zeroth order potential effects upon defense, offense, equipment, con-ops threats. I don't know what Zeroth is. Let's see if we can quickly see what that is. The meaning of Zeroth is being numbered 0 in a series. Not quite sure. Zero order potential? Oh well. If you want to look into that further, go ahead. Spaceship Earth. The crew are plundering the ship's supplies, tinkering with the temperature and life support controls, still looking for the instruction manual, engaging in bloody skirmishes in every corner of the vessel, increasing the size of the crew by 2 million per week. Apparently that, I don't know what this P. Creole is. Maybe that's who did this comment, but Spaceship Earth, all these things are going on. Well, who's engaging in these bloody skirmishes in every corner of the vessel? It's not the everyday peasant and peon like me. That's the government doing that, so that's not our fault. Still looking for the instruction manual. We have the instruction manual. It's the government and the controllers ignoring the instruction manual for, ill gain. Tinkering with the temperature and life support controls. Again, that's not us. That's not average Joe. That's the government doing that. Plundering the ship's supplies. Well, that's again the government and the elite controllers for, increased power and wealth. So it sounds like this Spaceship Earth is all the blame is on a small fraction of the residents. Humans have taken over and vastly shortened evolution. So pretty much, the evolving because of the digital age and technology is a lot faster now. And, evolution of the planet, global warming, pollution, deforestation, huge public work, which is like dams, of the human species, the genomic design and repair, mind children, whatever that is. I did a quick search for this Moravec, which was some scientist, but I'm not sure what they mean by mind children. Products, life forms, cross-species, molecular breeding, directed evolution, and that ties right back into Klaus Schwab's buddy, Yuval Harari, with the directed evolution, where it's not natural selection or it's not God's creation. It's going to be directed creation, but our directed recreation. It's going to be human controlled. We're going to decide how we evolve from here because of the technology. Right there, directed evolution. This is 2001. And old Yuval talking about that was, I think, within the last 10 years. So if you don't think this stuff, is real and is occurring, and what old Yuval, is saying is true, you better start thinking higher. You better pop that gold pill and swallow it quickly. like I said, we're on a rocky path. Currently, order of 70% of world's research conducted outside of the US. Order of 70% of US research now commercial as opposed to government sponsored. Oh, I'm sure that's BS. I'm sure the so-called commercial research is actually government sponsored. Here's a percentage of nanotechnology research, and we're third, which not by much, but we're third. And here's the one that Burmis always points out, the technological ages of humankind. So we were hunter-killer gatherer groups pretty much from the BC days, the 10,000 BC, and then we figured out how to do agriculture. And agriculture was, 10,000 BC clear to 1800 AD. And then we got to the industrial age of machines, 1800 to 1950. And I like how they have the hunter-killer group, million BC to 10,000 BC. What happened to all the Christians and the mainstream religion believers of humans have only been here for like 6,000 years? The world started 6,000 years ago or so. Well, according to the people in the know, we've been here for a million BC. So, it might make you ponder on organized religion. I can pretty much assure you we've been here longer than what Christianity suggests. So the industrial, 1800 to 1950. IT age, 1950 to 2020. That's the digital computers got started. But the IT's done in 2020, 2 years ago. And what started in 2020? Bio-nano. And they're not sure when the bio-nano age is going to end. But after it does end, we are in the virtual age. Now remember, this was made in 2001. So in 2001, they knew that in 2020, we were going to progress to the bio-nano age. How did they know that? And what happened in 2020? The C-19 scare? The C-19 act of the World Theater? And the all-hailed cure for C-19 being the jab? And they wanted that in everybody badly. Why did they want that in everybody? The bio-nano age has begun. You think that's a coincidence? That's not a coincidence. Not a coincidence that the bio-nano age started in 2020 with the C-19 and the jab. So, if you're still pondering maybe getting the jab, I would highly suggest you do not do that. And then the next slide, it kind of further just elaborates on the ages, and the hunter-gatherer was nature provided for us. The agricultural was controlled nature, meaning kind of we're controlling the plants and crops and stuff. And then the industrial, mechanized agriculture. IT, bio-nano, automating industry agriculture. So that they want to automate everything, even the humans. Virtual, robotization of IT, bio-nano, industry agriculture. So I guess the next age is the replacement of humans with all the robots. Key future technologies, all highly synergistic at the frontiers of the small in the feeding frenzy off each other. Kind of a weird sentence there. Key future technologies, all highly synergistic at the frontiers of the small in a feeding frenzy off each other. Interesting. IT, silicone, bio, optical, quantum, nanocomputing. No end in sight. Another 10 to the 6 power plus. So no end in sight. And 10 to the 6 power is a pretty big number. Virtual reality, holographic, immersive, ubiquitous comms, hyperspectral sensors, virtual presence, automatic, robotic, everything. Huge cost reductions. Oh yeah, we don't have them pesky humans to take care of. Bio, lifespan doubling. Well, that would be great. But Joe Schmo down the street, he's not getting that technology. That's Rockefeller technology. That's Kissinger technology. That's George Bush technology. That's Dick Cheney on his fifth heart technology. That ain't for the peasant. That's for the elite. They'll live for hundreds of years and roll over the rest of us like gods because we still live, an 80 to 100 year lifespan if we're lucky. Genetic engineering before birth. Oh boy, we're going to tinker around with the baby so you can get the blonde hair, blue eyes you want. Plants irrigated by seawater. Food, petrochem, feedstock, minerals, terraforming. Well, that's not a bad thing. We should be creating desalinization plants to process seawater for consumption. We should be doing that. We should have been doing that a long time ago just to have a backup in case droughts ever come. But we're not doing that here in the U.S. To hell with our infrastructure and taking care of the people. Excuse me. I bet the elites have desalinization plants on their mega properties and underground bunkers. I'm sure they got it set up for them when they need it. Not for us. Nano. Carbon nanotubes. 600 times the strength to weight of steel. Assemblers. Living factories. Huge cost reductions again. Yep, huge. All about cost reductions because the overlords that are funding all this, they got to make their money. $5 trillion, that's not enough for them. They need that extra $2 trillion, squeeze out of there. The greed of this world is sickening to me. The billionaires and trillionaires we have out there, it's still not enough. They need that extra couple billion, sacrificing, their workers and, the other lowly peasants that do all the work that make them rich. Just the greed and the consumerism is terrible. Worldwide IT revolution. Comms, computing, sensors, electronics, U.S. commercial IT, R&D, $100 billion a year. Factor of 1 million further improvement. Silicon, molecular, quantum, bio-optical. Beyond human AI? ? Automatics, robotics in the large. Immersive, multi-sensory VR holodecks. Ubiquitous multi-physics hyperspectral sensors, land, sea, air, and space. Micro, nanosats, GNC sensors, etc. Worldwide impacts of ongoing IT revolution upon society. So pretty much everything. Everything's going to be digitalized. Telecommuting, teleshopping, teleentertainment, teletravel, teleeducation, telemedicine, telecommerce, telepolitics, telesocialization. So for any of you thinking that We're going to have a lights out issue like old Dabu 7, that spook cat. Oh, we're going to have lights out, man. You best get prepared, have a plan. What you going to do when the lights go out? The lights ain't going out, people. They rely on this digital realm to further solidify their control and worldwide totalitarianism, and the lights are going to be left on. We're not going to go into a dark situation. And like I said, if we do, it will be for a very short amount of time. And we'll be right back on it, because that's how they're going to initiate the control, the total control over your mind. And like right here, ongoing IT revolution worldwide. Everything is everything is online, everything is digital. You need the power grid up and functioning to carry out all of this. So the likelihood we're going to have a lights out situation is very small. Very small. Here's IT status. 10 to the 6th improvements in computing science or computing since 1959. 10 to the 8th further possible in the next 30 years. 10 to the 3rd provides better than human capabilities. 100 million telecommuters worldwide now, expected to at least double in 15 years. So that's already happened, so it's probably already doubled. India graduates 3 times more software engineers than the US. More software is written in Bangalore than Southern California. IW effectively constitutes a 4th weapon of mass destruction. So if you don't know what IW is, that's your information warfare. That's your InfoWars with Alex Jones. Information warfare effectively constitutes a 4th weapon of mass destruction. Yep. Any of you still think Alex Jones is genuine and not an Intel asset and part of IIA? You probably have an 80 IQ out there, because I'm sorry, InfoWars is completely controlled, completely a PSYOP, completely IIA operations. Alex Jones is the biggest shill gatekeeper I've seen come to town in the truth community. So, some IT predictions. Quantum computing initially available in 5 years. So that would be 2006. We have quantum computing. 15% of all power today is used by computers. Will reach 60% by 2010. Wearable, implantable, on-person electronics, comms, computing, sensory augmentation, health monitoring, brain stimulation. That's already come to pass. Here's AI and beyond computing. Human brain characteristics, capabilities, 100 billion neurons, 100 trillion connections, 200 calculations per second, 20 million billion calculations a second, excellent at pattern recognition, poor at sequential thinking, operates via random tries. But machine capabilities, currently 10,000 billion calculations a second. 100,000 billion by 2004. By 2010, 20 million billion is available. By 2025 on a PC. By 2030, PC has collective computing power of a town full of human minds. The U.S. Human Brain Project, oh boy, begun in early 90s, funded by 16 organizations across 5 agencies, aka neuroinformatics, intersection of neuroscience and informatics, exploding field, 10,000 individual presentations at annual meeting of Society for Neuroscience, from molecular geneticists to cognitive psychologists, determining detailed neuroanatomy of human brain, digital brain atlas. So they're mapping out the brain. They're going to have a map of our brains. Use of IT to study brain. Use of brain info to aid IT AI. So if you can't imagine the dark paths they're going down using IT and brain mapping, we probably don't even want to know what capabilities they have out there. The Imagination Engine, aka Creativity Machine, aka Creative Agent. Current AI best bet, not a rule-based expert system. Generates new ideas, concepts via starving a trained neural net of meaningful inputs, forcing it to dream, cavitate, create new concepts, etc. An attendant neural net used to capture, record, evaluate, and report on these writings. So that sounds like some kind of weird quantum computing machine that is functioning like a brain. In this worldwide economy, our ability to create wealth is not bounded by physical limits, resources, but by our ability to come up with new ideas. However, even universal wealth will not obviate the other causes of warfare, which include politics, face, religion, megalomania, and territorial disputes. So they're pretty much telling you we're never going to stop having wars. No matter how much our technology increases and how much it's able to help us with peace and relations and stuff, we're always going to have wars. Just get used to it. The Ministry of Peace. Global problems, solutions, serious problems, energy, water, food, land, population growth, wealth generation, pollution, warming. Well, so they've been talking about this for the last 25 years. Well, it's been longer than that. They've been talking about this for hundreds of years. That's always their excuse to solidify control over the peasants. Killer app solutions, motivational, inexpensive, web-based, asynchronous, distance learning. Biomass/food via seawater irrigation in current wastelands. Well, like I said, that's a good idea for desalination plants to use seawater to water stuff in wastelands and irrigate stuff. But they're not doing it here in the U.S., and they're not doing it for the people. So if they're doing it, it's for the elite. All right, I'm going to end it here. We're on slide 24 of 113. If you guys want to continue reading this, I don't think I made it the whole way through here. I made it probably 3/4 of the way. Do what I did. Just do a Google search of NASA Warfare 2025, and you'll get the link to Dennis Bushnell's Wikipedia, and go under publications, and right at the end, a little arrow you can click on, and it'll send you right there. And like I said, there's another page that's like an SAG, I want to say, .com, some kind of government site that has this too. But it only has 48 slides. Whichever one I got this off of, it's 113 slides, the whole thing. So if you want to read this thing in its entirety, go find it. It's not hard. Let's just read this last part here. Inexpensive, motivational, asynchronous, web-based distance education enables the demise of the U.S. underclasses. Yeah, so they're acting like this stuff is gonna solve our poverty and get rid of the underclass, the less fortunate people. Bullcrap. It's gonna be used to further solidify that equalization of the haves and the have-nots. That's BS too. It's going to further the divide between the haves and the have-nots. So I love how they always throw in the twist of, this is to help everybody. It's to help the peasants, too. Bull crap. And we'll scroll down here to the very end just to see how it wraps up. Usual reactions to this presentation is in the too hard box. So they're saying, usual reaction is, oh, this stuff's too hard. Another reaction, not being done yet by anyone, therefore will not be done. Well, it's being done, and they're doing it. They wouldn't do that. Oh, yes, they would do that. We have to hope they would not do that. Well, you can hope all you want. Hope in one hand and poo in your other and see which one fills up first. They're doing it. Why go there? Cannot defend against it. Well, because we're idiots and the money managers are greedy and they want power, so that's why they're going there. Who cares if the AI ends up, who knows, becoming sentient, having a Terminator scenario? We don't know what that's going to be if we, create AI machines, but they don't care. It's all about power, control, and how much wicked shite they can do. Some disbelief, but agreement there is too much there to disregard. This is probably the majority of people. There's some disbelief to the contents of this presentation, but generally they'll agree there is too much here to disregard totally. But even so, they won't care, because the way they've been brainwashed and conditioned is, even though they see that there's too much there to disregard, they will still manage to disregard it. That's the way that, the general populace, the average Joe, that's the way their brain's been conditioned to think, to disregard stuff like this because it's too technical, it's too above their intelligence level, and it's a little too far out there to, be able to discern properly. So they disregard it. They don't want to think about it. Well, guys, we can't disregard this stuff anymore, people. We cannot disregard this stuff anymore. Time is short. We do not have much time left. We can't be ignorant to this stuff. This information I'm putting out there, the current state of online, it's so controlled. And that control is, for one thing, to control your mind, to control your thinking, to control your actions, to control your emotions, to control everything. They want a worldwide totalitarian system. And it's going to be ushered in by this IT digital evolution or revolution. This is the means to their end, the digital age, the bio nano into the virtual. That's where we're heading. So you better wake up to this. You better pop a couple gold pills, wash it down with some water, and start thinking critically about all the inputs that you're consuming into your mind. All right, that's it for today, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. Y'all take care out there. Do whatever you need to prepare yourself for what's coming here in the future, because the ministry of truth is in effect, and there's no stopping this train. Take care. Peace.